Thank you for watching, liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing right now.
Got a question that was asked in the YouTube comment thread by 395 Javelin. How did you nearly get fired from Best Buy? Interesting story. It was the winter season, just after Windows 95 had been released, and I needed a job in between semesters. And so Best Buy was hiring during the holidays. So I took a job in West Des Moines, back in Iowa, and I was in the computer department because, of course, I really enjoyed being around technology, and that was really the only place for me, at the time. I mean, they have other departments, but I was more into personal technology than I was like CDs, which they were selling even back then, and I think they were still selling cassette tapes. Either way, so we had an array of brands on the shelf, and we also were selling Apple computers at the time, Macs. Wasn't a fan at all, and I just wasn't. Compaq, HP, and a couple others. IBM's I think we had, and then Packard Bell. And I had owned, at that point, I think I still owned a Packard Bell, a 46DX266 with a math coprocessor. 8 megs of RAM that I upgraded to 16 megs of RAM. That cost $300. Expensive. Yeah, megs of RAM. Megs. Not gigs. Megs. Either, yeah, this was a long time ago, 1995. So, had all these computers there, and I did my best to kind of look at each particular one, saw the strengths and weaknesses, became familiar with each one. We had a few notebook computers or laptops, but they really weren't hot sellers back then. Those were primarily for businesses, and we had a lot of people, from, who were looking for personal reasons. Acer, I think, was another one in there. So, and I remember that because Acer's line at that point, they had a few okay ones, but honestly, HP had the best machines in the array that were available on the shelves at Best Buy. In my estimation, the HP had the leading machines. It's subjective. Either way, I didn't sell any Packard Bells because I had one, and I was like, yeah, no. And the return line always seemed to have a few Packard Bells sprinkled in. It'd overwhelm anybody who was watching. You look at the line, dude. Like Packard Bell, Packard Bell, Packard Bell, Packard Bell, Packard Bell. Either way, as people would come in, they say, "Here's what I'm looking for." I say, "Okay, here, this is probably going to be the best thing for you." And I tell them, blah, 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 and I've done my, I've looked at all these things, and in terms of price and what you get, right now, this one edges out, and it have to be a HP, like by $50, it would edge out. Now, granted, if you want something like this, then you'd want this one. If you want something like this, you want this one. Well, one day, a woman walks in, and she doesn't know what she wants. And I remember talking to her, again, going through the rigmarole. I'm like, well, this is probably going to be the best option. She said, well, I don't know. I said, well, what are you looking for? Well, I don't know. Well, would you like to get online? I don't know. Would you like to do word processing? I don't know. Would you like software that makes it? I don't know. Would you like I don't know. I mean, that was her answer for everything. So my response ultimately was, okay, well, I'm trying to, help you make the decision. This would be my choice, but you've got to make the decision if you want to think about it. I mean, it's a big decision, and it was back then. Like, you'd spend like $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 on a home computer. That's what they called them back then, home computers. So I let her go. She walked off. She said, okay, I'll think about it, or whatever she said, and she walked off. And the next thing you know, like a half hour later, a manager called me into the back room. And it was a group of managers and, assistant managers and everything sitting around this big table. I'm like, okay, what, sitting down. And they said, got to talk about something that just happened. Apparently you had helped a woman, and she's in tears. You made her cry. I made someone cry at Best Buy. I'm not kidding, guys. So I was like, wow, whoa. I'm like, that's not my intention. And they got upset because they said, well, you've got to tell her what she wants. I'm like, well, how am I going to tell someone what they want? Well, they need to be, help navigated. Well, I answered the questions. I've always helped I was helping everybody else. I've helped everybody else. I've been good here. I've sold a lot of computers for you, and you all know that. I'm really, passionate about this stuff. And apparently this woman was just having a bad day. I remember she was about to get married or something like that. And I don't know what the whole backstory about with her was, but she was emotionally volatile. So she cried. Apparently someone else sold her another computer, and that was fine. Someone else sold her that, but I apparently said the wrong thing. And then this is what almost got me. And so that almost that wasn't a good thing. That was not what they wanted from people on the floor. Because you don't get, at Best Buy, at least at that point, you didn't get commissions. They didn't ask you to push the extended warranties or anything. At least not heavily back then. I don't know. I haven't been there forever. And then they said, well, and while we have you here, we've also noticed that you haven't been selling any Packard Bells. And I said, well, yeah, because right now the array that they have, they're not that great. And look at the service line. I mean, they're filled with Packard Bells. Their response was, well, it may be true that Packard Bell may not have similar, listen to their wording, similar hardware to other manufacturers, and that the return rate may be higher than others, but that doesn't make them any less of a good option. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I would have had to have put my integrity on the line, and I didn't. Finished out the month, and that was pretty much it. That was my only real retail experience that I know of. But those two things almost got me fired. Making someone cry and refusing to sell. My integrity has remained intact, whether I was telling you that Windows Vista or Windows Millennium Edition sucked. Here's the thing. Everyone takes credit for Windows 7. Nobody takes credit for Windows Vista. You've seen the commercials. Windows 7, and it was my idea. Windows Vista, it didn't happen. It's like that Highlander movie that was written out of canon. Windows Vista, the Jar Jar Binks of personal computing. Seconded only by the kid Anakin Skywalker of Packard Bell. They make good bedfellows. Not to say they slept together. I don't know that. I can't back that up, really. So yeah, that's how I almost got let go. I'm obviously doing my own thing now. I have no ill will towards Best Buy, that store, the managers, or anything. I think Best Buy every store does its best. Got no ill will towards them. That was just my experience. It's my integrity, man. It's all I got at the end of the day. Got a problem with that? Take it up with me. But until next time, we'll see you later.